Hello and welcome to another update video about ADA. So we want to start on the daily time frame, right? In the last video, I only showed you the micro count, and someone asked me how I could just show you the micro count without considering the larger context. Now, anybody who's been following our ADA videos knows that context is everything, and we're focusing obviously on the larger time frame every few days, every few weeks. So, and there's also a long-term outlook in our long-term video playlist section. So the main question here that arises on the daily or even weekly chart, but the daily is sufficient. The main question that arises is really, okay, is this a wave one, which at the moment we assume because it's a nice 5-wave move up. But is this wave two already finished? That's the main question. So ADA certainly reached our long-term support area on this chart, on the log chart, for a wave two pullback. The thing is, you can count it in different ways. There are some problems with this count. At the moment, I assume that at least a somewhat lasting low is in, but ADA needs to do a lot to confirm that we are bullish and that we're already heading to new all-time highs. ADA is still, despite coins moving, ADA is one of the weaker ones, okay? And so far, we've highlighted that the risk of another bear market low is still very, 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 very high on this chart. So just wanted to give you an idea of the bigger context. So obviously, we have an impulse to the upside into the 2021 highs. We can count the move down as an ABC structure, and we're now in a C wave in an ending diagonal. This is one way of looking at it. And then it could extend still down lower in this C wave. Because if this was an A wave down, which bottomed here, for example, in May 22, this was a B wave triangle, then the C wave to the downside is unfolding right now. And there are a few ways how this can be looked at. For example, we could say, okay, this is an ending diagonal, for example. So we had here a wave one, this was a wave two. We're doing here an A, B, C structure in wave 3, 4, 5, just sketching out a possible pathway for you. So another bear market low still absolutely likely, cannot be ruled out really until we see much more price action and impulses to the upside. So yeah, first step would be to take out here this swing high that was made in April, which was around 46 cents. On the smaller time frame, a first level that needs to be broken to be really getting, to at least start talking about that there is a high likelihood that a low is in. The first step is to break above 38 cents, the swing high that was made in July. So I just wanted to give you an idea of the larger context. There is another way of counting this. We could say the C wave did sit here. This was the wave one. The A wave was here. The B wave was here. Overshooting B wave, right? And the very long C wave. In this count, also the low could have been in here actually. The problem is I don't like the look of it. I absolutely don't like the look of it, this last wave down. And even in this scenario, another low could happen. And we could say that this was a 1, this was a 2, this was a 3, this was a wave 4 triangle, which is still unfolding, and a wave 5 down. And also this still leaves the door open for lower. But with a break above the July high, 38 cents, at least it would invalidate the triangle option, okay? So that's what we are dealing with here, a very incomplete looking downside structure. I don't want to go into too much detail here, but I think the bottom line is we still have to keep the door open for lower. But at the moment, because the multi-hour charts point to the upside, we're assuming that a somewhat lasting low is in place. However, we need to be very mindful that below certain levels, the trapdoor to the downside opens and we can still get to around about 13 to 15 cents. And that level is around 23.7 cents, those recent swing lows, okay? And it would be confirmed with a break below 21.6, the June low. So hopefully that gives you a good summary. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. You have 24/7 access to these charts here as a silver and gold channel member. Okay, let's take a look at the shorter time frame wave count. Let's start with the 4-hour chart. What we have on this chart, what we've been primarily following is this downside potential that this is a triangle that I just showed you, a wave 4 triangle, which bottomed in December and started to form actually in December. An A wave, a B wave, a C wave, a D wave, and now we could be in the E wave. We have now just reached the target area we've been talking about for many, many weeks, and could then come down still from here in the fifth wave down to, as I said, 15 cents roughly. We have to keep the door open for that, absolutely. But in the current scenario, in the current context, in the current environment, which starts to get very bullish in crypto, I mean, we see a green Saturday. It hasn't really been like that for a long time. We actually had some breakouts today. Ocean, for example, looks quite interesting today. In this context, the probabilities for a move to the downside definitely have reduced. There are correlations between coins, and there is typically always a bullish and a bearish scenario, especially in the current context where the structures are very fragile. Yeah, this would be different if we had a strong trend, which we haven't got. I mean, ADA has been moving in a triangle for many, many weeks, actually months, as you can see, just sideways. So the trend isn't very strong, which indicates it can shift quickly. So that's just something you need to understand. That's why context is so important. So we've got this target area, which could still all be part of this triangle with another low down. And the target is between 30 to 34 cents. But a break above that level could send us to 38. And that would be a break above the July high. And then we follow something more bullish, which would be here a 5-wave move to the upside. It would have to be a diagonal, could take us to the 50 to 60 cent region. But even filling in all those 5 waves would not necessarily confirm yet that a lasting low has been established. It could just be part of a larger ABC structure, so we are not really out of the woods yet. Could still break down, okay? So let's take a look at the microstructure. I think this forecast from yesterday sort of is being followed at the moment. Being followed at the moment. We talked about as long as we are traveling here on this trend line, the focus can be on higher, and I gave you a suggested micro count for it. First of all, in the bearish wave count, in the bullish one, we would see a break, obviously, above 34 cents. I absolutely acknowledge that could happen. But to keep it simple, we just want to see, okay, what are the microstructures that could play out here? They could also be integrated into something more bullish. So we did say, okay, we are probably here in circle wave 5 to keep it very simple. And in circle wave 5, we're dealing with an ending diagonal. Circle wave 5 started here at around about 27.4 cents. And it basically completed a wave 1 here at 29 cents, came down in a wave 2, here 27.7 cents. It's now in a third wave, which is an ABC structure because we're dealing with an ending diagonal. Yeah, so it could move higher. We're approaching here a trend line, I think. Let me zoom out a bit. Yeah, we're approaching a trend line, so pay attention to that one. ADA will likely slow down in this region around 30 cents, 30.5 cents. If we can push higher, we might get one more high, and then we'll see. Then we at least have enough waves complete for a 5-wave move. Now, in the bearish count, that would be a C wave of Y, of E, and we could break down. So it's worth to be watching for that. But in the bullish count, it would simply be a wave 1 leading diagonal, and we can be watching for a wave. No, actually, it would be an impulse. All of that would be an impulse with wave 5 being a diagonal. I don't want to get too much into detail here. If you have any questions about the micro count, you can let me know in the comments. We're still tracking for higher as long as we're holding here this previous breakout point at 27 cents. And for a really bearish outcome, we would need confirmation with a break below the 23.7 cent level. That's my update about ADA. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.